We're disappointed. We were looking forward to giving the Vice President an enthusiastic welcome. And we were confident that she would find this. You know, she speaks very much about the high ideals and how it's good to get away from division and come together in unity and all. Well, that's what the L. Smith dinner is all about. We haven't given up yet. We're not used to this. We don't know how to handle it. This hasn't happened in 40 years since Walter Mondale turned down the invitation. And remember, he lost 49 out of 50 states. I don't want us to say there's a direct connection there. But so we're not used to this, and we're not giving up. You know who's been a help to us, Lauren, is Senator Schumer and Governor Hochul. They both are working hard to see that they convince her to come.
So there's still a chance.
Yeah, and Senator Schumer said to me, he said, I don't think she made the decision. I think her schedulers are saying she can't make it. So we're not giving up. We hope she's there.
And while we're very sorry that Vice President Harris cannot make it here in person, we will be joined by her later via video.
President, right? After JFK, President Biden couldn't be here tonight. The DNC made sure of that. That's... I guess I'm the only one that reads. This event has been referred to as the Catholic Met Gala. 22% of Americans identify as Catholic. Catholics will be a key demographic in every battleground state. I'm sorry, why is Vice President Harris not here? I mean, consider this. This is a room full of Catholics and Jews in New York City. This is a layup for the Democratic nominee. I mean, in her defense, she did find time to appear on The View, Howard Stern, Colbert, and the longtime staple of campaigning, the Call Her Daddy podcast.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the Al Smith Catholic Charity Dinner that takes place every year in New York City. And in election years, politicians, presidential candidates decide to show up and to participate in a roasting session of each other, okay? This is supposed to be for fun and games, okay? In order to raise money. It's supposed to be for a good cause. It's supposed to be a time where the politicians can come together and just make fun of each other, okay? Let loose a little bit, relax, and for whatever reason, Kamala Harris decided that she could not show up, okay? And she got absolutely roasted for not showing up because instead of showing up, she submitted what a lot of people find to be an offensive and very cringe video towards Catholics. Take a look.
Cool. Oh, sorry.
Hey, what's going on? Who was that?
Oh, sorry, Mary Catherine Elliott. Mary Catherine Elliott. It's so nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, Mary Catherine. Right now I'm trying to record my speech for tonight's dinner.
Oh, yeah, I know. I just want to say that I'm Catholic, and tonight is one of the biggest dinners next to the Last Supper.
It is a very important dinner, and it's an important tradition that I'm so proud to be a part of.
Sometimes when I get nervous, I stick my fingers under my arms and I simmer them like that. But that's gross.
So tell me something. I'm giving a speech. Do you have some thoughts about what I might say tonight?
My feelings about what you should say tonight would be best expressed in a monologue from one of my favorite made-for-TV series.
Okay, let's hear it.
Don't you see, man? We need a woman to represent us. A woman brings more heart, more compassion. And think how smart she must be to become a top contender in a field dominated by men. It's time for a woman, bro. And with this woman, we can fly.
What series was that from?
Oh, that's from House of Dragons, now streaming on HBO Max.
Is there anything that you think that maybe I shouldn't bring up tonight?
Well, don't lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness to thy neighbor.
Indeed, especially thy neighbor's election results.
Just so you know, there will be a fact checker there tonight.
Oh, that's great. Who?
Jesus. And maybe don't say anything negative about Catholics.
I would never do that, no matter where I was. That would be like criticizing Detroit in Detroit.
Does it bother you that Trump guy insults you all the time? Because it really bothers my friends and me.
Oh, Mary Catherine, it's very important to always remember you should never let anyone tell you who you are. You tell them who you are.
Haters gonna hate, hate, hate. Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Good for you, Mary Catherine.
Oh, yeah, okay. And also remember one more thing. Don't worry if you make a mistake, 'cause Catholic people are very forgiving. Yeah, and also one last thing I want to tell you, don't forget to say, superstar!
Thank you, Mary Catherine.
Thank you, Kamala.
Thank you. Your Eminence and distinguished guests, the Al Smith Dinner provides a rare opportunity to set aside partisanship and come together to do some good.
Yeah, so I don't know about you guys, but Kamala Harris at this point is just weird, right? She's just plain old weird, which is hilarious to think about considering how at the beginning of her campaign, okay, her and Tim Walz thought it would be a good idea to label Trump and JD Vance weird when she's in fact the weirdo, okay? I mean, she's so weird and socially awkward that she can't show up to a Catholic dinner that traditionally happens every year, okay? And every election year, both presidential candidates from both major parties show up. And like one of the priests said before, he made a good point. Yeah, this is a chance to show that you actually are for unity, right? If you come out here and you preach unity and that we need to turn the page, right? We need to stop all the hate and the divisiveness, which is what she says. This is what she says on the campaign trail. Why is it that Kamala decided that it would be a good idea to skip this dinner? Now, I understand she may be campaigning and doing things in other places, but she found time to go on Call Me Daddy. She found time to go on The View. She found time to go on Roland Martin, all these other platforms that are not nearly as important, in my opinion. And this was an opportunity for her to humanize herself, okay? And she just totally fumbled the bag, right? I'm not sure how many times Kamala Harris is going to fumble the bag during her campaign. Again, we are witnessing one of the most epic collapses in politics that we've ever seen, okay? Because I'm going to tell you, during the Fox News interview, Kamala Harris, she got a gift, right? Brett Baer asking her those hard questions was a chance for her to admit that, hey, we made mistakes and we learned from those mistakes and this is how we're going to fix those mistakes. She didn't do that. Going to this Al Smith dinner could have been an opportunity for her to show that she's a real human being, right? That she can actually do what she claims that she wants to do, which is to put aside partisan politics and to unify, right? That's the whole point of the dinner, okay? When it comes to hosting the presidential candidates, she couldn't do that. Again, I'm not sure who's advising her, but they're running her campaign into the ground, right? I'm just saying, this is one of the worst campaigns that we've ever seen. So with that being said, Trump did show up, and Trump brought down the house with his stand-up routine that, honestly, I think Trump, if he wasn't a billionaire real estate titan, he could have been a damn good comedian.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz. Well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. A major issue in this race is child care, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep him away. That's a nasty one. Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
Damn, Trump cooked them. Trump cooked the Democrats up. Okay, yeah, I think Trump did an amazing job. Like I said, if Trump was not a billionaire real estate mogul, if he wasn't running for president, he could have been a comedian, okay? That could have been his alternative career. But what you're saying, that again, that's the big difference between Trump and Kamala Harris, guys. I think, honestly, that's the big difference right now in the race. Trump is a human, right? People can see that Trump is an actual human being, okay? He's a normal person. Okay, although he is a billionaire, right? He still finds ways to be relatable, right? Somebody that you can connect to, right? Kamala Harris is not that. I'm not sure how there's anybody that feels like they can relate to Kamala Harris. She's a robot, okay? She can't do anything unless it's on a script. Her video submission was scripted and it was not funny at all. And don't get me wrong, if she actually had funny jokes for Trump, I would have laughed. I would have said, oh yeah, that was funny, that was hilarious. Her video was not funny. It was just weird, right? It was weird and cringe and apparently offensive as well too. And Trump did so well that even Brian Stelter at CNN acknowledged that, yeah, Trump was hilarious. Take a look.
Brian Stelter, what did you make of this performance?
Oh, no, don't ask me first. I thought he was funny. I thought he actually got a few great jokes in. I thought the best moment was we talked about the assassination attempts and made light of what he's experienced, because I think he's experiencing real trauma, real PTSD as a result of the shootings, but he's still able to have a light moment in this room. And he took advantage of the fact that Kamala Harris wasn't there.
Which is really the subtext of this whole thing.
Exactly. That she
They're
didn't
usually
attend.
supposed to be in the same room.
No one would have noticed if she may have gone, but people noticed that she wasn't there.
I'm an old fogey. I want these traditions to continue. I want our institutions to thrive. And yet I find myself agreeing that there's nothing funny right now. I mean, I thought he had some great one-liners. The line about, he was talking, now I'm going to forget them all, of course, on live TV.
The Eric Adams joke was very funny. Yeah, that was
There were a couple Eric Adams.
There were a couple jokes that were really good.
I want our politicians to roast each other. I want them to be able to be in the same room and find common ground.
But I think to
right
Lee's point, it does kind of strike me that the Harris campaign is sort of tacitly saying, hey, this ain't normal.
Yeah.
Trump is not normal, and I'm not going to sit here and kiki with him.
The last thing I would want if I were Kamala Harris in Trump.
In weeks, what do you think voters think about that?
Not much, really. I mean, I think Bill Clinton's been a terrible surrogate so far, honestly. I mean, the last two times we saw him in public, once he was making the case about how Kamala Harris has failed on immigration by invoking the Laken Riley situation and saying that the Biden-Harris administration not properly vetted the illegal immigrants who killed her.
Yeah, so criticized Republicans for sinking the bipartisan border deal too.
Fine. And then secondly, we saw him at the funeral for Ethel Kennedy making bizarre, like quasi-sexual references about her. I mean, he's been a terrible surrogate. And Obama was a terrible surrogate. And Harris was terrible on Fox News the other night. This is a campaign that cannot find a way to land the plane. And she's skipping the Catholic dinner. At the same time, one of her top surrogates is out cutting bizarre videos mocking communion. And I'm talking about the governor of Michigan, Whitmer. And so they have problems with Catholics. There's polling showing that Trump is bouncing back to 2016 levels with Catholics. They got problems with their surrogates, and they got a problem with a candidate who can't answer basic questions about the economy and immigration. I think Trump's okay today.
You know what I find to be hilarious about Brian Stelter's take? Is that his first take before anybody else went, and you could tell he was nervous about it because he wanted to hear what everybody else had to say, because he wanted to make sure that he wasn't the oddball in the room and telling the truth about how Trump was hilarious. Now, when he actually gave his take and then other people gave their take, all of a sudden he's like, well, I find it hard to believe that anything is funny right now, right? I mean, nothing's funny, okay? And this is part of the reason why Kamala Harris wasn't there, because of how serious this situation is. Now, these are the same people who are all about joy. These are the same people who were dancing, kikiing, ha-haing, right? Talking about how much of a relief it was to get away from the seriousness of politics when Kamala Harris first got into the campaign. Well, why is it that they felt that way back then? Well, that's because they thought that Kamala Harris was winning. Now, all of a sudden, when Kamala Harris is losing, oh, well, there's no joy, right? Nothing's funny. You shouldn't be dancing, right? You remember all these people going after Trump for having a dance party at his town hall? Okay, all these people were so upset, acting as if Trump was mentally declining because he decided that, hey, you know what? Instead of doing the usual thing, let's just have some fun, okay? Let's make it fun. Which, again, is something that these people were down for just a couple months ago, okay? They thought that was totally fine, totally okay when Kamala Harris was doing it. When she had Megan Thee Stallion on stage shaking her ass, it was totally fine. Now, all of a sudden, nothing's funny. You can't dance. You can't have joy. You can't laugh. Now, what has changed? The only thing that's changed is that now they believe that Kamala Harris is losing, right? That's why I find this to be so funny. What I also found to be hilarious is how when Scott Jennings was talking about Kamala's campaign falling apart, how nothing is working for her at this point, including rolling out Obama and Bill Clinton, who seem to be sabotaging Kamala Harris on accident. Biden's out here telling Obama that Kamala Harris is not that strong, right? Gretchen Whitmer is putting out offensive videos towards Catholics. And Caitlin Collins decides that, hey, well, she's going to throw in some little jab about, I don't know, the Republicans or Trump shooting down the immigration bill. And Scott Jennings is just like, who cares, right? Who cares, okay? He just totally like brushed it off because it's at the point now where nobody cares, right? Nobody cares about these things that these people always say in order to try to take shots at Trump. It's like, yeah, nobody cares about that anymore, okay? Again, the vibes, okay? The vibes have totally changed. Before they were all about vibes. Now, all of a sudden, they don't like the vibes anymore. It's funny how that works. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.